Okay, so I have a question for you guys. You guys are not tired of whining about colorism? This video is basically inspired. I don't know the details, but there was someone released a song that was basically um, applauding or praising light skin or just appreciating a light skin tone, like how there's these other songs by like Indie RE and Beyonce, I Am Not My Skin, Brown Skin Girl, that type of thing, and these other mini songs that are about appreciating your appearance, your skin tone. And there was a lot of backlash against that because people were talking about, well, basically you're not allowed to do that. Um, it's colorism. Okay, that whole policing and thing was valid when there was this extreme um, oppression, this extreme um, misrepresentation, low representation. When that is no longer the case, I'm going to link a video down below which shows dark skin representation from over a year, and there's been an explosion of dark skin representation. I feel like people are so immersed in this victimhood mentality, they're not even recognizing or registering the strides that were made over the past years. Yes, and now yes, a there is a colorism issue. I'm not denying that, but it's not in this extreme fashion where you guys get to police people doing the same things as you are, and you're no longer justified in lashing out with people with lighter skin tones, and you have no right to be whining so much and demanding things, especially when so many of you are complicit in the system that perpetuates colorism. Okay, here's the thing with colorism, it is an issue, but it's not the issue. It's not deep, it's not complicated. As long as people with darker skin, with dark brown skin, have the highest rates of poverty and incarceration, there's going to be a stigma around that. No, this is not some evil white cast people thing. It's just how we can operate. Sometimes we operate from a lower vibrational place. Sometimes we um, operate from our primal and primitive programming. Okay, you can see that with how we used to tease African immigrants, African booty scratcher, right? We just sometimes attack differences. Of course, there's the whole historical reasons for that, but right now, as long as dark skin, brown skinned people have a the highest rates of poverty and the highest rates of incarceration, that's there's going to be some level of bias. So I don't see why are we talking about colorism and featureism and all these neurotic thousands of terms and labels instead of focusing on the solutions. Like, we recognize the effects. The people who are don't recognize colorism, are basically gaslighting. They're in denial. They have some, they gain some benefit from this appearance-based caste system. So there's no point of ignoring them. Enough people have recognized it. So what are we going to do about it? We're so focused on the effect instead of the cause and the solutions to the causes. How can we decrease our incarceration rates? How can we alleviate ourselves out of poverty? That should be the only concern, not talking about, whining about colorism and policing people for um, this so-called justified policing when it's not, that's not even the case. Do you guys realize that we're overrepresented in the media? We're overrepresented in the media, and that includes dark skin representation. I'm going to post the stats here, the data here, and in movies we have a lower reflection from the population. I think we're about what, 12%, 13% of the population, but in movies we're close to that. In television we're overrepresented, which is not surprised because we're placed in every single show. Yes, a lot of it is just tokenism and checking a diversity box, but there's been a lot of rich shows. Tenet, Black Panther, um, there's been tons of dark skin representation on the big screen on Netflix. There's been so much progress, and regardless, those people are still, it's, acting is still a job, and there's a lot of people getting employment, including dark brown people. So this level, y'all need to update. People aren't getting the update. No, you're not justified in this level of whining. No, you're not justified at lashing out. We can discuss the caste system without, like, I'm not gonna tolerate. I am, like, people describe myself as, like, me as lighter skin. I'm not going to tolerate people light skin, like saying light skin with this venom in their voice. I'm no longer going to tolerate that because you guys are frustrated at the caste system with that, when many of you um, perpetuate it. Okay, a lot of you are, first of all, a lot of you worship a white caste pale god. I'm not going to even get into that one. And then a lot of you practice casteism in regards to your celebrities. I've had people um, look at me, light skin, like, stop being a mate. It's a skin tone. Okay, and then we support media, for instance, with Princess Tiana, Disney, right? They try to lighten her skin, and there had to be this pressure to get her skin darkened back to the how it was originally. No, why did we do that? Disney showed Disney showed their true colors. Why are you? They don't like us. So why are you forcing someone to like us to not to like us? That we should have stopped the dollars. How many of you have Disney Plus? This is like um someone, you asking someone out to prom and they're like, ew, no. But then you go to their parents and you complain and whine, and then the parent forces that person to take you on a date to prom. Like, why do you want someone who doesn't like you to like you? That should have been the last straw. Like, she was already a frog half of the movie. It took them decades to represent a dark skinned person, But you guys just keep, you guys stay in these abusive relationships. This is like when the husband is like, you ugly, blah, blah, blah. And then you say with him, no, get a divorce. Like, I do, I don't watch the Bad Girls Club because I know that perpetuates harmful stereotypes of dark skinned people. I don't support Disney. I'm not giving them money because they already showed their cards. I do everything right, but then I'm people still lash out at me because of my skin tone when I'm doing everything right or minding my business, while you guys are doing everything wrong, but feel like you have are justified in policing people on their skin tone and don't even recognize the strides that we've made in dark skin representation. And then representation, media representation isn't even that important. We have all this media representation. We're still being murdered. We're still being pumped through the prison industry. We're still being criminalized. They still created the drug war to pump people through the prison industry for self-medicating themselves, even though they're on every single type of drug. Okay? Dark skin representation. How about political representation? That's what we should be focused on and concerned with. What about academic representation? You know what I learned in high school about our history? In high school, it was like 5 minutes. And they were slaves, and then we moved on. 5 minutes, more like 10 seconds. They were slaves, moved on. Like, well, you guys are sending your school kids, dark skinned children, to these indoctrination camps that teach us nothing. I heard that basically put this narrative that we were slaves, which they like, which explains all these slave movies. Okay, I'm going on a tangent. Uh, we send our kids. How about academic representation? So basically, you guys do all these complicit things to support this system. Like, it's time to stop whining. It's time for us to grow up. And then, if you want representation, do something about it. We spend, I think, our money level is. I'll Google it after this, but our money, the money we spend into pumping the industry, we could be that's it could be another studio. I don't support like black studios. I'm saying there should be a studio, a movie studio, entertainment studio that reflects the demographics of the US, not this hierarchy of white cast people as the producers and the directors and the basically the gatekeepers and the creators, while they profit off of our cultures, and then we're grateful for our crumbs. We should be supporting a rainbow studio with people from the top. It shouldn't even be hierarchical. From the left to the right, it looks like the demographics of the country. So we can do anything, but we're doing the opposite. So that's my take on this whole colorism thing. I'm not even going to say the word colorism anymore. It's all the caste system. There's an appearance-based caste system. I'm not even going to say Eurocentric features. That doesn't exist. Okay, there are Europeans, people with genetically European lineages who complete lineages who have tan skin. Some even have practically brown skin. There's some with uh, very curly hair. There's Europeans with bold features. How if Europeans can't meet European beauty standards, how can there be a European beauty standard? Then look at the rise of K-pop. Average age, average East Asian features have merged into the standard. Yes, there is a standard, but it's basically refined light features on the left and dark, bold features on the right. Okay, that's all we have to say. Light, refined features are the standard, and dark, bold features are stigmatized, right? Bold, the curlier your hair, the more it grows up and out. It becomes bold. Bold features, big nose, big lips, broad nose, bold. Even physiques. Our physiques, we have bold physiques, generally speaking. Okay? Yeah. That's all, it's all real. They're stigmatized, but there's a reason why it's stigmatized. It's not a conspiracy. It's not deep. It has nothing to do with slavery. Slavery ended almost 200 years ago. If you haven't processed this trauma from slavery, that's just on you. Start feeling your emotions so you can process. Yes, it's real, but it's on you now. Let's turn up the accountability is what I'm saying. Thank you.